This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
And welcome to the program. Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Roby Brock, and we appreciate you tuning in. Our first guest this morning is none other than 4th District Congressman Bruce Westerman of Hot Springs. Welcome to the program. It's good to see you.
Great to be here, Roby.
I haven't seen you since you've been sworn into office, really.
Yeah, I've had a few things going on, getting settled in D.C.
You have, you've gone, well, I want to hear a little bit about that. As you've kind of gone from being the big fish in the small pond to a big fish in a bigger pond.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big a fish I was in the in the pond here, but I'm definitely in a big pond in D.C. and there's a lot of us. You know, just getting to know the 247 Republicans in the Republican conference is enough work, and then trying to meet others on the Democratic side. It's a lot of new faces and names to memorize.
How have you been adjusting to the family life and the personal life and the work life of being up in Washington for days at a time and then coming back to Arkansas? And I mean, that's got to be a different kind of pace for you.
Yeah, and I've got 4 kids. 3 of them are still at home, and we try to just make it special time when we're at home. My daughter's been playing in a basketball tournament this week, and I got to see a couple of those games. But there's never a dull moment in my life. It's pretty busy while I'm in D.C., and then it's busy when I get back here. Yeah. But my wife, I think she thinks I'm not eating in D.C. because she's cooking all my favorite meals when I get home. So I think I lose weight when I'm there and put it on when I'm back here.
I have my oldest is in college, and Mom seems to cook a lot more when he's home from school too.
Oh yeah,
so that's our running joke in our family.
Yeah, it's my oldest will be back at spring break, and I think he eggs that on a little bit. You know, Mom, I need some good home cooking while I'm here.
Well, let's talk about what you have been doing in Washington, D.C. In addition to just the votes that have kind of come through that leadership has pushed you, you've actually filed your first bill as a congressman. It deals with state flexibility on the Medicaid program. This is obviously coming from some of your experience as a state legislator, too. Give me kind of an overview of what you're trying to do with that bill.
Yeah, and if you want to use an analogy on the state legislature to Washington, D.C., maybe the minor leagues and the major leagues, and it's not totally a perfect metaphor for describing it, but there's definitely some benefit to serving in a state legislature and understanding the legislative process. And all the issues that I went through here in the state, learning about health care and Medicaid in particular, I think prepared me quite well to go to D.C. and talk about those issues. So our first bill, it deals with state flexibility. It allows states to create workforce requirements for able-bodied working-age adults that are in the Medicaid expansion population. I believe in Arkansas that's about 80,000 people, the data that I've seen, that have no income at all, that are taking advantage of the benefits offered through the Medicaid expansion.
And so you want the states to have the ability to put some sort of workforce requirements on their eligibility for that program.
Right, and there are several states have applied for a waiver to do that, Utah I think being the last one, and CMS in D.C., the federal government continually denies those requests, and I think the states should be able to design those programs that work best for the state. And if they want to implement workforce requirements, then let them do that. I'm not telling them, here's what the workforce requirements have to be, or here's how you do it, but you've got the flexibility if you want to do it.
Yeah, you're not even saying that they have to put a workforce requirement on there. Right. You're just giving them the flexibility to if the legislation were to pass. How confident are you that this bill will get through? There aren't very many freshmen that get a bill to the president's desk.
Well, it's one that everybody I've talked to about so far seems to like it, but there's a lot of people to talk to. And I haven't talked to the president about it. Yeah.
Let's talk too about what's kind of going on here at the state legislature. You've seen the whole debate over the private option be not nearly as controversial as it was when you were the House Majority Leader.
It makes me wonder, where was the controversy coming from? Yeah.
What do you think you would do if you were still up at the state legislature now? You think you would have gone with Asa Hutchinson's plan to end the private option by 2016 or extend it to 2016, depending on your point of view?
I'm not involved in that anymore, so I'm not going to weigh in too much on it, but I think everybody knows my record was I consistently voted against it, and I wasn't here during the debates for all of it, and really with the schedule that I have in D.C., I don't get to follow the state legislature as closely as I used to.
Read some talkbusiness.net. It's out there.
Yeah,
every
that's
day
where I
for
get
you.
my information.
I like that.
I
appreciate that endorsement right there. Now, also to the state, you and I were talking a little bit before the camera started rolling about the 1332 waiver that would give the states a lot of flexibility too. This has to be something where you feel pretty good about where the state's Medicaid program could go.
Well, and I think there's a lot of or there will be a lot of emphasis on Republicans in Congress working more with state governments. There's a desire to see more state flexibility, not just in creating workforce requirements, but in the way all of government's administered, to give more of that power back to the states and back to the local level. I'm a big advocate that government's most effective when it's closest to the people. So I want to do what I can in Washington, D.C. to let state legislators here, let quorum courts and school boards here make decisions that are going to directly impact their communities without having the heavy hand of the federal government interfering with everything.
All right, I got to wrap it up there. Congressman Bruce Westerman, thank you very much for being with us this morning. All right, thank you so much.